North Korea on Sunday launched its new strategic cruise missiles from a submarine under the supervision of leader Kim Jong-un. A drone attack in Jordan has killed 3 U.S. military personnel. The U.S. blames Iran-backed groups and President Biden vows to respond. Iran, in the meantime, has denied any involvement. Seoul City's climate card that allows unlimited use of public transportation for a certain amount of monthly fee was made available this past weekend. We tell you why it has drawn attention from the very first day. It's January 29th, 2024. This is Newscenter.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Sung-bin. We start with yet another missile test by North Korea. The regime reportedly launched its new strategic cruise missiles from a submarine this past weekend under the supervision of leader Kim Jong-un. Kim Hyung-gyeom has our top story.
North Korea is believed to have fired several submarine-launched cruise missiles off its eastern coast on Sunday under the supervision of the regime's leader Kim Jong-un. State-run newspaper The Nodongshinmun reported Monday that the Bulhwasal 3-31 strategic cruise missiles were launched from a submarine. North Korea had test-fired this missile for the very first time from a ground launcher just 4 days before Sunday's launch. The missile is believed to be nuclear-capable. Kim Jong-un, who oversaw the launch, reportedly stressed that the Navy's nuclear armament is an urgent national agenda. According to the Nodongshinmun, the missiles launched on Sunday flew for 7,421 and 7,445 seconds before hitting preset island targets in the East Sea. Given that 2 flight times were reported, it appears that 2 missiles were fired. However, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff on Monday questioned the North's flight data.
We are weighing the possibility that the flight times claimed by North Korea were exaggerated. Additional information is being analyzed by South Korean and U.S. intelligence authorities.
If confirmed to be SLCMs, as North Korea claims, South Korea's military may face more difficulties detecting and responding to the launches as the missiles fly very low to the ground. However, Bruce Bennett, defense researcher at RAND Corporation, says that North Korean submarines aren't going to survive in a conflict.
2 or 3 of them, depending upon what will fit on the submarine, would be a fairly serious threat in a surprise case. Much after that, probably before they can reload, that submarine would die in a war-fighting situation.
Experts also say the missiles are likely to have been launched from North Korea's new tactical nuclear attack submarine, dubbed Hero Kim-gunok, unveiled last September. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
This latest weapons test comes as North Korea continues to diversify its nuclear and missile programs and raise tensions in the region. Bae Eun-ji explains what's behind all this and how far its weapons development has come.
North Korea's cruise missile launch over the weekend is widely seen as an attempt to diversify its weapon systems, in line with its key military goals unveiled 3 years ago. Under a 5-year plan laid out at a Workers' Party Congress in early 2021, the North declared that it aims to develop 5 types of new weapons: tactical nuclear weapons, a new intercontinental ballistic missile, hypersonic gliding flight warheads, nuclear-powered submarines, and a reconnaissance satellite.
North Korea said the latest cruise missile test was conducted without considering the geopolitical situation, so it's likely that the regime's intention is to complete the 5 military tasks related to this new weapon on their own timeline.
Over the past year, the regime has been focusing on developing ballistic missiles, especially ICBMs that are capable of targeting the United States. They have been developing liquid-fuel ICBMs such as the Hwasong-15 and Hwasong-17. Then, for the first time in April 2023, it tested a new ICBM using solid fuel, the Hwasong-18. Pyongyang conducted a second test in July and then a third test last month. In both, the Hwasong-18 was launched at a high angle and flew 6,000 kilometers. This means that if the missile is launched at a normal angle, it will be able to travel over 10,000 kilometers, reaching the U.S. mainland. Earlier this month, the North also fired an intermediate-range ballistic missile, claiming that it was a successful test launch of a solid-fuel missile, carrying a hypersonic warhead. Hypersonic missiles are designed to travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound and often maneuver at relatively low altitudes, making them harder to detect. and intermediate-range missiles have a maximum range of 5,500 kilometers, which means they're capable of striking U.S. military bases in Guam or Okinawa in Japan.
North Korea wants it to appear that there are a wide range of threats that they could pose against South Korea and the United States, so that they're intimidating, so that they coerce us, they deter us from taking action against them.
배은지, Arirang News.
Moving on to Sunday's deadly drone attack in the Jordan-Syria border that killed 3 U.S. soldiers. President Biden vows to respond as he blames Iran-backed militant groups for the first deadly strike against U.S. forces since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. Iran has denied any involvement. Song Yoo-jin with the latest.
At least 3 U.S. service members were killed and more than 30 others were injured on Sunday after an unmanned aerial drone struck the Tower 22 base in northeast Jordan near the Syrian border.
We lost 3 brave souls in an attack on one of our bases.
Yes.
And I'd ask you for a moment of silence for all 3 of those fallen soldiers.
Washington blames Iran-backed militant groups. But citing Iran's permanent mission to the United Nations, state news agency IRNA reported that Tehran had nothing to do with the strike. In a statement issued by the White House earlier, President Biden said that while Washington is still gathering information, they know it was carried out by what were described as radical Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq. Mr. Biden also vowed to hold all those involved responsible. Also, the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, an umbrella organization of several Iran-backed militant groups in the country, has claimed responsibility for the attack. The group said it attacked a number of places along the Jordan-Syria border on Sunday, including a site near the U.S. base. As this marks the first time American soldiers have been killed by enemy fire in the Middle East since the Israel-Hamas war began last October, experts say Washington's response could be significant.
In that US casualties was always seen as a red line. This is the tipping point. So 3 US soldiers' deaths is important. It's not necessarily a tipping point into uncontrolled escalation between the United States and Iran, but it's another very dangerous step because, as I say, the US will have to respond even more strongly than it's done to previous attacks.
Considering these circumstances, the scale is expected to be aggressive and powerful.
The options right now could be more intense strikes on some of the Iranian militias that have been launching these attacks, particularly in Syria, but also in Iraq. What I think we can expect is a more, as I said, broad and intense strikes on some of these Iranian-backed militias that we haven't quite seen yet before.
Fears are growing over a widening conflict in the Middle East as the Israel-Hamas war is soon to enter its 5th month. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News.
Elsewhere, a Hong Kong court has ruled that China's debt-ridden property developer Evergrande should be liquidated after it repeatedly failed to come up with a restructuring plan. With more than $300 billion in liabilities, the firm's shares plummeted by over 20% following the ruling on Monday. Eyes are now on whether Beijing will recognize the Hong Kong court order, as most of the developer's assets are in mainland China. Evergrande had become a prominent symbol of China's real estate crisis, and this new development has been reportedly likely to send ripples across Chinese financial markets. Back in this country, the ruling People Power Party began receiving nomination applications on Monday for candidates planning to run in the upcoming April general election. Applications for candidates across 253 electoral districts in South Korea will be accepted until February 3rd. In a related development, Lee Jae-myung, the chairman of the main opposition Democratic Party, held a closed-door meeting with key figures from the party's nomination management committee on Sunday. This meeting signaled signals a ramp-up in the DP's preparations for their nomination process for the election. Here in capital Seoul, an unlimited public transport pass called the Climate Card was made available from Saturday. Some welcome this new card while others talk about the need for improvement. Our Park Go-nu went to test it out and heard what people had to say.
Unlimited access to public transportation is now available in the capital. The Seoul Metropolitan Government started a new 6-month pilot project on Saturday that allows limitless public transport access with its so-called Climate Card as a means to cope with climate change and lower household expenses. The card is based on the D-ticket issued in Germany. According to the Metropolitan Government, it is expecting 13,000 fewer cars to be used and a cut of 32,000 tons in greenhouse gases emitted annually through this project. The Climate Card allows people to ride subways or buses within Seoul for 62,000 Korean won, or a little under $50 per month, if downloaded to a mobile phone, and even public bikes if users add around $2 more.
2만 원 정도 절약되는 걸로 알고 있습니다. 교통비가 고정적으로 나가니까 좀 좋을 것 같다 생각을 하고 있습니다.
The card is valid on subway lines within the Seoul region, including numbers 1 to 9, Sillim and Suinbundang, among others, although some are excluded, such as the Shinbundang line, due to different fare structures. Users will need to pay an additional charge to subway employees when traveling to stations not included in the pilot project. Most intra-capital bus routes are also part of the project. Green and blue buses heading to places outside Seoul are included if the bus license plate was issued by the Seoul local government. The transport passes can be bought at offices inside subway stations or nearby convenience stores. I also bought this card, the Climate Card, for 3,000 won. You just need to charge it using this machine just like any other transportation card. Android phone users can get the mobile version of the card by downloading the T-Money application. After sales began on January 23rd, nearly 200,000 cards were sold within 3 days, leading to many subway stations and convenience stores running out due to their popularity. And more than 70,000 people used the card on the first day. But some spoke about the need for improvement.
광역버스나 지하철 여러 가지 노선도 다 이용 가능하게 하면은 많은 사람들이 더 이용할 것 같아요.
Meanwhile, Seoul said it would do its best to remove any inconveniences found during the Climate Card pilot project. Park Go-nu, Arirang News.
Also on the local front, Sunday closures for large retailers have been scrapped, and our Shin Ha-young has a gauge of the public response and more.
It was the 4th Sunday of the month, but a large supermarket in Seoul was bustling with shoppers. Seochogu district in Seoul has decided that big retailers have to close on alternate Wednesdays instead of Sundays, following the scrapping of mandatory weekend closing days for large supermarkets. This was announced during an open debate held by South Korea's Office for Government Policy Coordination last week, and consumers are welcoming the change.
There were times I arrived and found the store was closed. Now it's great that it opens every Sunday.
Since I'm working, I only have time to shop on weekends. Coming to the store late on weekdays is tough, so I used to come once every 2 weeks, which was inconvenient.
On the other hand, traditional market merchants are deeply concerned as the number of customers visiting the market may drop.
There will probably be fewer people at street markets when large supermarkets open during weekends. When it's too cold or hot, many people would prefer to shop indoors.
Before the change, large supermarkets had to close their stores for 2 days a month on weekends, for example on the 2nd and 4th Sunday, which had become the norm in many regions. Large stores are still not allowed to operate at all between midnight and 10 a.m. However, the ban on online deliveries during those hours has been lifted. Originally, the regulations were introduced to protect small and traditional markets. However, the landscape of market competition has shifted from supermarkets competing with small markets to offline versus online shopping. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
Time now to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. Joining us in the studio is our sports editor, Paul Need. Good evening, Paul.
Evening.
Paul, let's start with AFC Asian Cup. South Korea made it through the round of 16 and will face Saudi Arabia soon. Now they know who their next opponent will be if they were to progress.
Yes, you're quite right. It'll be Australia in the quarterfinals for what will be a repeat of the 2015 final, actually. And that is, of course, if South Korea make it past Saudi Arabia. But Australia made light work of a Shin Tae-yong-led Indonesia on Sunday with a 4-0 win at the Jassim bin Hamad Stadium in Al Rayyan. An unlucky own goal from Elkan Baggett opened the scoring before the Socceroos found 3 more. Martin Boyle, Craig Goodwin and Harry Suter all on target. It was the first knockout game played of this Asian Cup. The second got underway a couple of hours later. Tajikistan upset a Paolo Bento-led United Arab Emirates 5-3 on penalties after the two teams had played out a 1-1 draw, with Khalifa Al-Hamadi finding a 95th minute equaliser for the UAE. Tonight, Iraq face Jordan and Qatar take on Palestine. South Korea plays Saudi Arabia at 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning Korea time or 7 p.m. local time. The other round of 16 clash is Uzbekistan versus Thailand.
Fingers crossed. And turning to the Youth Winter Olympics in Gangwon, the province, any medal updates for Team Korea?
Yes, in fact, one more gold was added today, just a few hours ago, actually. It was Kim Hyung-gyeom. He finished first in the men's singles free skating with a total score of 216.73, just half a point more than Adam Pagara of Slovakia. There was also one gold added over the weekend as well. That came in the men's dual moguls freestyle skiing. 17-year-old Yoon Sung-bin on Saturday beat Huff Porter of the US in the big final, 18 points to 17. More medals still to come too, potentially, as on Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Korea time, Kim Jin-hee and Lee Namu will take part in the ice dance final, and then at 2:30 Korea time on Tuesday, Kim Yu-sung and Shin Ji-ah will take part in the women's free skating. Korea sits 6th in terms of overall medals with 5 gold, 5 silver and 4 bronze.
And to baseball now, the MLB Seoul series appears to be the hottest ticket in town.
Yes, it does. The Major League Baseball opener in Seoul this March sold out in just 8 minutes. The LA Dodgers will take on the San Diego Padres on March 20th at the Gochok Skydome in Seoul for 2 official MLB matches. Tickets went on sale on Friday at 8 p.m. for the first game and were all snapped up in no time. The table seats on level 1 cost as much as 700,000 won, or just over $523. Tickets for the second game on March 21st go on sale this Friday at 8 p.m. They'll be the first proper MLB games to be played in South Korea, and so demand is very, very high. While the Dodgers no longer have a Korean player on their books, the Padres do, too, in fact, infielder Kim Ha-sung and pitcher Go Woo-seok.
And finally, to V-League volleyball. The mid-season break came to an end with Saturday's All-Star game.
Yes, you're right. K-Star beat V-Star very close, 37 to 36. The two teams were made up of stars from both the men's and women's V-League. Fans were able to vote for which players they wanted to see at the yearly showcase, with this year's played at Incheon Samsan World Gymnasium. Fans also got to see players dance and perform some new celebrations. The second half of the season will get underway this week, with games coming up on Tuesday. Suwon Hyundai Engineering and Construction Hillstate sit top of the Women's League, 8 points clear of the Pink Spiders. Seoul Uricard Hansei sit top of the Men's League, just 1 point clear of the Incheon Korea Air Jumbos.
All righty, thanks for that, Paul. See you next week.
Thank you.
Over in Gangwon, young athletes from around the world continue chasing their dreams. To cheer them on, 3 legendary South Korean Olympic medalists, including figure skating champion Kim Hyun-gyeom, shared their know-how on achieving their goals. Our Choi Soo-hyung tells the story.
Grow together, shine forever. In Korea's eastern province of Gangwon, where the Winter Youth Olympics are taking place, 3 legendary Korean Olympic gold medalists gathered with the teens on Sunday to share their youthful experiences. In their presentations, they provided practical advice and hopeful messages on how to overcome limitations and achieve their goals. Kim Hyung-gyeom, the iconic figure skater who won gold and silver Olympic medals in 2010 and 2014 respectively, said she was always prepared to fall and controlled her mental health.
I prepared for the worst and imagined making mistakes before the games, all to take care of my mental health. I've always thought that it's okay if things don't go well, and the thought that I can fail anytime helped me relieve the pressure.
Ryu Seung-min, the gold medalist in table tennis at the 2004 Olympics and a member of the International Olympic Committee Athletes Commission since 2016, said it was important not to set limits based on what people say, especially after hard preparations.
Nobody expected me to win, but I had confidence in myself because I had prepared a lot. I could have been low on confidence because people had judged me in that way, but I kept myself thinking, oh, I did well even when I lost. So ironically, it eased the pressure on me.
2018 Olympic skeleton gold medalist Yoon Sung-bin emphasized trying to experience as much as possible to find one's own strengths.
When you are young, it's good to try many different things. I believe that finding one's talent is the hardest task. So, you need to have various experiences to discover what you can excel in.
The Gangwon 2024 Winter Youth Olympics, with South Korea hosting the first ever event in Asia, will run until February 1st. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
As the cold has eased off, ultrafine dust has made a return. As the atmosphere stagnates and smoke from overseas flows in, the air gradually becomes murky. Tonight, the dust concentration in Yeongso in Gangwon province, as well as the Jeollabuk-do and Gyeongsangbuk-do provinces will also rise. The air is expected to be cloudy tomorrow as the dust accumulates. Please wear a mask for fine dust when you go out. Skies will be cloudy from tomorrow afternoon. Starting with Jeju Island in late afternoon, there is rain forecast in Jeollanam-do province from night. As for the amount of rainfall, up to 10 millimeters on Jeju Island and 5 in Jeollanam-do province. Tomorrow, Seoul will start off at -3 degrees Celsius. Daily highs will go up to 7 degrees in Seoul, 10 degrees in Gwangju, Daegu, and Gyeongju. As for Gangwon province, where the Winter Youth Olympic Games are being held, daytime temperatures will get up to around 7 to 9, relatively milder winter weather. Rain or snow is expected to come around frequently in Yeongdong, Chungcheongbuk-do province, and the southern areas in the second half of the week. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world. That is Newscenter for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up.